I firmly believe that if I put in the work, literally do the work, the real work, not the easy stuff, not the surface level feeling productive for the sake of being and feeling productive. If I put in the work, I already possess the talent, skill, and capability to be a scratch golfer. Yet candidly, I spent the vast majority of 2025 inconsistently putting in the work, at times avoiding the work, playing fearful, lacking consistency, lacking intentionality, lacking commitment. 2025 taught me so much, brought me so much, took so much away from me. And I am so grateful for the lessons it taught me on and off the golf course. So grateful for the lessons that the game of golf and the people like you I've had the privilege of connecting with and meeting have taught me. And I'm here to tell you that the theme of 2026 is do the work. And the three words that are going to really shape my identity as a golfer include committed, intentional, and fearless. And we'll circle back on all of that and so much more. What's up, fellow golfer? Welcome back to another episode of the Scratch Golfer's Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Salter, the golf hypnotherapist. I'm a mindset and performance coach who helps his clients get unstuck, out of their own way, and unlock their potential. And for my OGs, my longtime listeners, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in, not once, but twice a week when we go live with a brand new solo episode every Monday, and when I get to sit down and have an incredibly insightful and informative conversation with one of my many incredible guests every single Thursday. I appreciate you. New listeners, welcome. Those of you who have migrated from Spotify here to Apple Podcasts or otherwise, welcome. I'm thrilled you're here. Quick update, doing my best, continuing to work with Spotify, bring in the legal team to help expedite the process to get me back up and running on both Spotify and on Instagram. So hopefully it's a matter of days, but you and I both know it could be a matter of weeks or months. Onward we go, focusing on what it is I can control. Coming to you more in 2026, something I got away from in really the second half of 2025 is bringing more updates. What am I working on? How is the game progressing? What's going well? What's not going well? What am I learning? So just understand more of that is coming. I'll weave it into Monday solo episodes. And really, that's kind of the foundation of how we are closing out the year. Today is Monday, December 29th. And every Friday, I send an email out. It's called the More Pars Than Bogeys newsletter. There's an actual website with all of the newsletters. Think of them as articles, blogs, newsletters, whatever, as well. But a couple weeks ago, I sent out a newsletter, email only, that included 15 specific questions that I challenged my readers to set aside time to answer. Quiet space, copious amounts of coffee, and a whole lot of honesty. And these questions are designed to get you to reflect on your particular golf season for 2025, to understand more about what you need to start doing, stop doing, and continue doing as you move into 2026 to better perform and actually make lasting progress towards your goal. And these questions are rooted in radical ownership, radical honesty, and radical accountability. And I felt it was necessary to follow suit, to create congruency, and to take the time to do just that myself. So today's episode is an insight into my world, my inner workings, when I spent just about 2 hours or so on Christmas morning before I picked up my son, digging into what went well, what the fuck happened, what didn't go well, and everything in between, particularly for my golf season in 2025. And then I went a couple steps further, really updating and upgrading my golf identity. Who the fuck am I? Who do I want to be on the course? And getting a lot of clarity on that. So today, I'm going to read these 15 questions. I'm going to read my answers, sprinkle in some raw, in-the-moment thoughts. All 15 questions that I pose with a couple extra bonuses, I'll drop in the show notes. So if you want to copy, paste, set aside that time too. I can't encourage you anymore to do it. You know what to do to achieve your goal. Do you know, or rather, are you courageous enough to admit what beliefs, patterns of thinking, feeling, and behaving are holding you back? So the three-pronged first question I love to ask, and this was not in my list of 15, but it's something I've started using a lot more with myself and my clients lately is, what do you need to start doing, stop doing, and continue doing to achieve your goal? And for me, the start is very simple. It's consistency and intentionality in my practice and preparation away from playing the course. It's more time on the range. Really, it's more time on the short course area and on the putting green, both at home and on the course. I need to stop using the 15 to 18 minute commute to my golf course as an excuse. I need to stop operating by these outdated beliefs and guiding principles that I can't go make 50 putts at 10 o'clock at night. I can't do it at 4:30 in the morning. Couple outdated beliefs really resurfaced the past 6 months around my scheduling, when I'm at my best, when I have the energy, the vigor, the focus, and ability to do well throughout the day. This applies to my golf, but also my work. And I found, as I've had to candidly call myself out, someone who was once up at 4 and felt that was the only time to do my best work. I'm still up early most days, but I've been doing a lot of work when my son goes to bed, and I'm finding a second wind, if you will, after letting go of the belief I only do my best work in the morning. And what do I need to continue doing? Reflecting, caring for myself, managing my energy, my emotions, doing an excellent job with mobility, all things in the resistance training world. And this is just a very surface level answer to these 3 questions for you, because a lot of my answers are wrapped up in the other 15 we're going to unpack. But again, for you, kind of your introduction to this deep dive reflection, what do you need to start, stop, and continue doing to achieve your goal? And what you're not going to hear in this conversation is steps and actions around how to get clear on your goal. I have an imagination I can summarize and assume what your goal is. To be the best golfer you possibly can, to be the best you possibly can. You want to get specific? I'm sure you want to be scratch, or you want to be single digit. You want to get even more nuanced? You can put a timeline to that goal. I'm going to save that for you. It's already abundantly clear where I want to go. I'm going to scratch. I'm going to get there soon. And with that said, let's dig into the 15 questions. Number 1, and quick additional preface, all of these are filtered through golf. So the question number 1 that we kick things off with is, what do I want in 2026? And this is so important. And it's the reason it is the first question. All of the others are not in a particular order except for this one. But we're so conditioned to focus on, what do I not want? What don't I want? And we never give any true thought and intentionality behind what it is you want. You see, the power in this is when you continue to spend time, energy, and intention and to give attention to what it is you want, your subconscious begins allocating and organizing the resources necessary to bring it to fruition. This is why you've heard me say multiple times lately on the podcast that my new morning journal upgrade is literally writing down in my journal, what do you want, Paul? ? And just brain dumping whatever comes to mind. As you can imagine, patterns have emerged, consistency, congruency, the same few things keep coming up. Even though the verbiage is different every now and then, there's clarity. And it allows everything else to kind of fall off, fade into the background, continuing to provide clarity on what it is I want and what matters most. So specific to golf, what do I want? Consistent ball striking, tee to green. If I had to summarize 2025 through the technical aspect of my game, and I'm not qualified to comment on all the technical facets of the swing, is I learned how to strike the ball consistently from a get club face on ball. And the next upgrade, is get club face on the ball square to put ball where I intend it to go. Once I hit my 7 or down to 6, 5, and 4 irons, I have a pattern I'm working on right now of just the club face is slightly open. So everything is leaking or being pushed right. And I've got the drills, I've got the focuses, and I've seen some improvement since I've brought intentionality and consistency to it just this past 3-week period. Really, really good. But in addition to consistent ball striking, tee to green, what I want is a deep understanding of my misses. Why did it go this way? And what do I need to do to quickly repair or course correct mid-round? And I don't need a full deep dive swing breakdown that's going to consume my thoughts, intention, and energy during a round. But I want a quick understanding, the past 2 holes, I kind of had a pull hook off the tee. Why is that? Oh, okay. For me personally, I got to swing more towards 2 o'clock. Boom, bada bing, straighten everything out on the 3rd and 4th, helping me to continue to play that baby draw that I like to play. I need better presence and focus on the course. This is an area, candidly, I'm giving myself a little grace. I've been navigating some storms, to say the least, off the course. And it has been challenging to keep focus and presence and energy throughout a round of 18 holes on the course when I've been able to play. And that's where I'm bringing more intentionality. And the way that I'm doing that, twofold approach. Number 1, more slowness in my visualization and mental preparation before I step out of my car to begin my warm-up routine. Number 2 is implementing a 3-hole check-in. So really playing 6 rounds of 3 holes, if you will. And at the end of those 3 holes, what I've been doing the last few rounds is in my notes app or directly on the scorecard, just writing a quick little what went well, what am I proud of, what do I need to focus on moving forward for the next 3 holes. And this has helped me to reset, refocus, and do a much better job. Again, very small sample size here, moving forward to cultivate more presence, focus, and flow on the course. One thing I have already started doing that I'm proud of and will continue to do is just dialing in my distances. I spent some time a few weeks ago creating a wedge matrix with my 52, 56, 60 from 50 yards and in, dialing in my distances with my irons, 3-wood, and driver, and just having a better understanding of the expected distances, where my kind of shotgun dispersion pattern is, to better choose targets and to, of course, better score. I need and want more confidence in the bunkers. You've heard about some of my bunker woes over the past. That's what I want. And then what you'll hear more about what it is I want that'll show up in the identity I'm upgrading is just to fucking bomb the driver. And you'll hear in a moment, one of the areas I didn't do well this year is playing fearless golf. And I'll elaborate on that in a moment. But ever since, and again, small sample size, the last 2 weeks, I've been doing a really good job practicing consistently, preparing technique, lessons, and hit 3 drives yesterday that carried between 270 and 285. And I'm going to keep building off of that. I got a rock fucking solid workout plan in place, courtesy of Sean Dykoff. Shout out Sean, Fairway Performance Golf. Can't recommend him enough for all of your golf-specific fitness training. But that's where we're headed. That's what I want more of. I'm a strong fucking guy. You know, I've squatted 435 pounds. I've deadlifted 485 pounds, all at a body weight of 160 pounds. And I'm still in the process of learning and training correctly to harness that power and to make sure it translates to the golf course. So I'm working on that. That's what I want more of in 2026. Number 2, what do I want? Oh, number 1, was what do I want in 2026? Number 2 is what do I want more of? My mistake. I kind of blended those answers together. But the other things I wrote down: more tournament participation, more networking and golf outings. I want more money matches, more opportunities to fucking win. And I want to experience more presence, gratitude, and joy while I'm on the course. You know, candidly, I've definitely battled some guilt while out on the course related to just, I've got a nanny at home. Shouldn't I be home with my son? I only get my son 50% of the time. Got to take care of dad too. So I can show up energized, focused, present as can be to maximize that quality time I do get with my son. So definitely working on letting go of that guilt. And the goal is more presence, gratitude, and joy when I am on the course. What do I want less of? Number 3. Less fucking urgency. My mental miss, if you will, the destructive mindset program that still continues to show up for me is rushing, a false sense of urgency. I become the best litigation attorney possible when it comes to convincing myself to skip an aspect of my pre-shot routine. And this is especially pronounced either A, after a bad hole or bad shot, B, also after a great shot, hole, or stretch of holes, or C, in the short course area. I've been really uncomfortable sticking to a pre-shot routine when I'm within 30 or 40 yards or so. So I'm working on that, but I want less urgency, less rushed decisions, less rushed actions, less stopping or skipping my routine. And I want less fearful golf. What do I mean by that? Tampa Palms, beautiful, challenging course, fairly fucking tight, narrow, a lot of OB, a lot of woods, water, hazard. And really, just through conversation with other members, not great members, I can say now in hindsight, I was always deterred from using driver. And in fact, for a long stretch this year, not only did I not touch the driver on that course, I teed off with a 4 or 5 iron on most holes. Sometimes let my 3-wood into play. Candidly, that's how I propelled us alongside my buddy and a great partner, Aaron, in the member guest tournament to win our flight. I hit nothing but 4 and 5 iron off the tee box for virtually all the holes. But as you can imagine, I hit my driver a hell of a lot further. And yes, I hadn't practiced it much, so the control, consistency, and accuracy wasn't up to par. The 3-wood was inconsistent. When it was on, but when it was off, it was horrendous. So I just got into this bad habit of being fearful and constantly was finding myself left with really long approach shots. I can hit my 4 iron 215, 220, can hit the 5 iron a little over 200, but on a 400 or a 450 yard, 50, 60 yard par 4, I'm trying to think what the longest one is. I mean, you're playing it like a par 5 with that off the tee box, and that's if it's a great shot. So I was just fearful. I was not owning and taking action of putting the work in with the driver and 3-wood away from the course, and I was showing up uncommitted and fearful on the course, and it translated. It absolutely held me back. So less urgency, less fear headed into the new year. Number 4, what am I no longer willing to tolerate in my golf game? This is exactly what I wrote down in my journal. I am no longer willing to tolerate playing hurried golf with a sense of false urgency. I'm no longer willing to tolerate skipping or shortchanging my pre-shot routine and my pre-round warmups. This is costing me significantly. Number 5, what patterns kept repeating for me this year and why? Well, obviously, the pattern of rushing, operating with a sense of urgency, avoiding bunker practice, just fearful of success is probably the undertone of that. Inconsistent off or on course practice. Again, using distance from my club as a reason. It's a stupid fucking reason. What patterns? Again, hurried golf, lingering frustration. And I think that was just a lot of the emotional fragility that increased throughout the second half of my year with all that I had going on away from the course. The pattern that I also noticed kept reoccurring is kind of this subconscious intention to feel this need to kill the ball when I'm in the rough. And that led to some terrible shots when I found myself in the rough. Go figure. And just trying to muscle through emotional discomfort, mainly frustration, was a pattern that kept occurring. And doing a better job of feeling, breathing, being. And I think underneath it all is just a connection to fear of success. Candidly, that's really that invisible resistance for me is fear of success. And I'm breaking that motherfucking barrier down. I'm here to tell you now, it's happening. Number 6, where did I abandon my standards when things got uncomfortable? Well, I abandoned my routine often, especially after a bad shot or after having a few good holes. After a bad shot in particular, I craved dopamine so bad I rushed to try to find it in the next hit, the next sweet spot contact. I also abandoned a lot of my practice schedules that I would create in 2025. Again, I can trace it deeply back to a core fear of success. I can connect some of it to using golf as an outlet, an escape to numb, cope, or avoid from some of the off-the-course challenges I was facing. And I'm here just owning it, accepting it, learning from it, and taking action to move forward. Number 7, what did I pretend didn't matter, even though it clearly did? I dropped the ball consistently prioritizing my pre-round visualization. Again, false sense of urgency, new parent guilt. I got a laundry list of reasons, excuses, and justifications. I just didn't do a good job. And I started a habit of collecting all my scorecards early last year rather. But I never digitized the stats. I had the best of intentions, Google Sheets created. So I just started logging everything in the Gin app as of this month, December. So there's only a handful of rounds in there. But that all my stats, my misses, my number of putts, everything's in there. No excuses. The raw, honest stats are there. Added accountability, ownership, clarity. And that's what we're at. And I'm going to tangent for a minute here. Something else I've noticed in just reflecting these past couple of weeks, finally getting to play more golf practice and otherwise, is just a little underlying pattern of avoiding too much discomfort. And just reminding myself to really sit when things suck. I had a terrible round a couple of weeks ago. Terrible. I fucking shot a 106 when the week before I shot a 92. Just couldn't hit the ball where I intended, to say the least. Didn't make consistent contact. It was a shit show of a round. And I remember, as soon as I got into my car, I had voice noted on the walk to my car a quick after round report. I caught myself midway in the process of starting to open Instagram. There's no fucking reason to be on Instagram. And I know in hindsight, I was just trying to numb, cope, and avoid how pissed off I was. So I quickly, fortunately, caught myself, put my phone in the glove box, and just sat in silence, no music on the way home, and just sat with it. I was pissed. This is terrible. But in the midst of sitting with that discomfort, as it began to fade, clarity began to surface. Hey, this is what you're not doing. This is what you need to be doing. You say you want this. Are you all in? Are you committed? What do you need to be doing? Starting, stopping, continuing. And we've kicked some serious ass in terms of checking the boxes on what we've committed to doing daily and weekly to achieve our goal of scratch since that moment. Again, short sample size, couple of weeks, but we're moving and we're grooving. Back on track. Number 8. What am I still blaming on my swing that's actually mental or emotional, not technical? For me, I wrote down, I know I have a swing to shoot par. To shoot par or better. I have a solid swing. What holds me back, though, is I rush. I create this false sense of urgency that I let be the driver of the following actions to execute the swing. Or in breaking my routine, which I alluded to earlier, I was still carrying a lot of my thinking and strategizing into my address. I was not doing a good job delineating the think box versus the play box. A lot of opportunity ahead to work on that. Number 9, where did fear quietly make my decisions for me this year? Well, the first word I wrote down was everywhere. Fear made decisions everywhere. Fear of success, fear of standing out, which led to inconsistent preparation, inconsistent focus on my routine, inconsistent presence. There was just an increased loud volume of mental chatter throughout a lot of my rounds this year. And again, I can sit here and tell you why, or I can just accept it and do different. And I'm choosing the latter. Better routines, better execution, mind over feelings, results over everything. Number 10. What did I avoid working on because it exposed my real edge? I don't play too much golf outside of my home club right now, and I anticipate that changing in the first couple of months of the new year. It just didn't play as much as I expected, intended to, or desired the past year. But with that said, to answer the question, I put my 3-wood and my driver away for a while. I neglected bunker work. I skipped over short game work. And I practiced without intention too often. Even when I made time for the course, I'd get there and be like, and then something wouldn't feel good the first 15 minutes, and I'd try to fix that. It was just random, chaotic, unproductive. And again, short sample size, but I took a lot of time in the beginning of the month. I have a practice plan. I have drills, intentionality. I'm evaluating every 30 days. I'm updating. I'm taking a lot more notes from the round. I'm seeing where my practice is already paying off. I mean, just yesterday I played around and I sank 3 putts that were over 15 feet. Phenomenal. Great. Couple to save par. Awesome to see, because now I have an at-home putting mat, not a cheap shit one that I originally bought. I spent some money. I bought I think it's the Prime putting mat. It cost me like $500 for Black Friday. And guess what? In my weekly cadence, I have 5 at-home putting practice sessions, each one with a different intention, and then 1 on-course practice putting session minimum that is purely on speed control, because I only have a 12-foot mat at home, which is great, but it's only 12 feet. So again, now coming back to the question, because you can see I'm getting a little pumped up now. I'm getting off track. But I avoided working on my driver and 3-wood because it was just this cloud of nonsense, this belief of others I carried with me to my home course. And it's just funny. I saw my buddy Kevin yesterday. Shout out Kevin, before I played around. And I told him, Kevin, I'm going to play as many holes as I possibly can with my driver today. And the best part I'm going to share is he came up and we played a hole together because he was heading out, but we were able to cross paths and play a hole together. And it's like it's a short par 4, maybe 315, 330. I smoked a driver right down the middle, little baby fade on it. Probably ended up rolling out to about 280. It was great. Now I chunked the approach. Then my second attempt got me on the green and I sunk like a 25-foot putt for par. It was a great moment. The drive to see some progress from practice translate, as well as the putting. And I went on to use my driver on probably 8, 9, 10 holes where in the past, it was 0, maybe 1, maybe on hole number 6, which is the hole we happened to be on, and that was it. So I avoided that. And as I shared earlier, and I share this confidently, I'm a strong dude. I got a lot of power. I got a lot of strength. I got years of competitive powerlifting under my belt. It's just learning to harness that as a superpower, a real edge, to put some fucking distance on the ball so I have much shorter approach shots where I already have more control. It's a lot easier, as you know, to be consistent from 60 to 90 yards in than it is from 120 to 150 or even 180. So that's where we're at. 11. When did I play not to mess up instead of playing to perform? I just left a lot of birdie, par, or even bogey save putts short. Short. Fear. Timid. Putting like a little bitch at times. No more of that. Not much else to say. Number 12. What part of my game actually improved? And why did it improve? Finally, a bit of a more positive reflection question, right? Look, my ball striking dramatically improved in 2025. Dramatically. I have a fairly consistent shot shape with a baby draw. I have a fairly good understanding of my misses, what happens. A lot of consistency with my club face control. Plenty of more opportunity for growth and consistency here, as I alluded to. Ball striking improved. Short game chipping definitely improved. Time on the course improved because previous year there was virtually 0. And I know a lot of things went well. And I'm going to call myself out and remind myself to refer to the gap and gain principle, not think of how far I have to go, and instead think of how far I have come. If you strip away the scores, the handicap from I went from like a 24, 25 handicap down to, I'm going to finish a year at a 14 or a 15. Because I just don't remember where I'm at now. I don't know if I snuck into the 14s again after this weekend's round or not. That's improvement in of itself. And there will be a lot more in 2026. We'll leave it there. Number 13. What drained my energy on the course more than it should have? Some old people-pleasing patterns frequently emerge. Trying to be the nice guy, trying to be liked, trying to make sure everybody had a good time. For whatever reason, there were a double-digit number of occasions this year when I was playing single or just playing with one buddy, and we got paired with people who were either from out of the state or out of the country. Literally, just yesterday, I played with a couple from Switzerland. Awesome couple. Fun time. And I reflect on that in particular because I always kind of felt this undercurrent to like show them a good time, be hospitable. It's not my fucking job. However, there is a way to be kind and to play fucking well. And guess what? People are going to have a great time when they play with somebody who's playing incredibly well. And I need to remember that. What also drains me mentally, emotionally, energetically, just perceived perception, judgment of others, old patterns. And the one thing I don't want to share, but I know I have to share because I've made a promise to you to be committed and be vulnerable with you, is sometimes I'd get in my own head. Here I am wearing my branded hat, my branded polo, golf hypnotherapist, and I have this opinion in my head, and I've had it validated a few times. Somebody sees that, they expect me to be scratch or better already. I'm not there yet. I will be. Sometimes that would create a little like, oh, fuck, are they judging me? Oh, if I don't hit a good shot. And I let go a lot of that the last quarter of the year when I was able to play, really kind of leading into the member guest and the remainder of the year. It was definitely something that plagued me and consumed way too much of my time, energy, and intention around the course. Number 14. What would change if I trusted myself one more level? I would slow down. I would quiet my mind. And both of these collectively would produce better shots and lower scores. Simple. Not necessarily easy, but simple. 15, the final question. If nothing changes in 2026, what will that cost me? Everything. I genuinely don't think there's anything else to elaborate there. Emotionally, psychologically, yeah, it's going to cost me everything. This year, specific to golf, has taught me so much about myself. It has shined a big spotlight on my areas for growth. And more than ever before, I welcome it. I am so reconnected and recommitted to the process than I've ever been. More welcoming and even seeking of discomfort than I've ever been. And I know these two commitments will serve me well and serve to accelerate the results I'm after. Those are my honest, straight from the journal answers to those 15 reflection questions. I hope you found them insightful. I hope, if anything, not only does it encourage you to take the time to reflect on these questions, but you hear my level of honesty and vulnerability and ownership. And it encourages you to apply the same level of honesty, vulnerability, and ownership to your answers. Because vulnerability is a superpower. Ownership and accountability are superpowers. And I have an imagination you're going to find a lot of value by sitting down, allocating 30, 45, even 60 minutes to thoughtfully answer these questions. And then go back, edit, add more. The last point I wanted to share is just kind of the upgrade to my golf identity. And it's really just three parts, three areas I'm really focusing on. It's just really being the fearless, committed, and intentional version of me, but really committing to being the long ball hitter. And look, carrying 270 to 285 right now is nothing special. It's great when it's consistent. Don't get me wrong. That in and of itself will stand out. But I know through dedicated practice, my dedicated work with Sean, that number is going to slowly and surely reach and then surpass 300. And it's going to give me a lot more opportunities for birdies, something that is very few and far between at this point in my playing career, playing chapter. So just the long ball hitter, really bombing the ball is part of the identity I'm stepping into. Really putting a lot of wedge work into the 125 and in range to become that sniper at 125 in. More confidence in choosing my landing spots closer to the pin because I have more control, precision, accuracy, and predictability. And then number 3, always working on just being the most mentally tough, resilient fucking version of me and person on the course. That's where we're at, where we're going, where we've been, and everything in between. And I so thank you for listening. Again, I hope you found value in this. I hope you will go answer those questions. I'll drop them in the show notes below. Those 15 questions. There's a lot of potential untapped in the honest, vulnerable answers to those questions. And I wish you nothing but the best as you find the courage to answer each one and take action on the learning lessons and the dot connecting moments that you have. There is so much power, so much opportunity and catalyst for growth in reflection. And I look forward to sharing more updates, progress, and measurements of my golf journey in the coming weeks and months. This will be, I didn't even realize it. This is the last episode of 2026. I don't actually remember what number it is off the top of my head, but I'm so thankful. It's 120 something, 120 episodes. I'm so grateful you continue to tune in. Thank you so much. If you continue to find value listening, hey, a rating, a review on Apple Podcasts, and eventually when Spotify comes back up, is greatly appreciated. It really goes a long way in supporting the show, getting the show out there in front of like-minded, high-performing individuals like yourself. And as I've shared with you before, it gives me the street cred to continue having on phenomenal guests so that I can learn from them and that you can learn from them as well. So leave that rating, leave that review, hit their grounds running in 2026. Have a great rest of your day, year. Hit them straight this weekend. We'll catch you in a brand new episode on Thursday, the 1st of 2026. Take care and catch you then.